Well, if it isn't the poor guy with a 150,000 yen monthly take-home pay.
Well, hello there. It's been a few days, hasn't it? Hello. About the other day. Well, at a high-end sushi restaurant in Ginza, the calm and quiet atmosphere itself felt like it was included in the price. Though the woman sitting next to me seemed to feel quite the opposite, looking incredibly restless. You don't need to be so nervous. As I gave a wry smile, Rie Yomura straightened her posture.
Manager, don't I look completely out of place here?
She's my subordinate, turning 24 this year. She led a major project to success and was promoted to assistant manager this month. Today was a celebration for that. It's a celebration for your promotion, so you don't have to worry about it.
Do you come to places like this often, manager? You seem so used to it.
No, not really. I answered immediately. In fact, though I've known the place for a long time, I wouldn't call myself a regular. The memory of my first time coming here flashed through my mind. Back then, I was in Rie's shoes, and Director Tsuchikura had brought me here. I heard you love sushi, so please enjoy yourself today, though it might not be much fun having it with an old guy like me. My name is Yuya Sata, 29 years old. I thought I was still young, but before I knew it, I was already pushing 30.
What are you talking about? You're not an old guy at all, manager.
Even if it's just flattery, I appreciate it.
It's not flattery.
It was just as we were teasing each other like that.
Oh, well, if it isn't the poor guy with a 150,000 yen monthly take-home pay.
At the sound of a woman's voice from behind, my chopstick stopped in midair. I turned around, and sure enough, there was the exact person I expected, Hitomi Yasuba, regrettably my ex-girlfriend from way back. Beside Hitomi was a man with a flashy luxury watch, probably her husband. 150,000 yen take-home pay? What is that? He's totally pathetic as a man. Too funny. The two of them looked at each other and laughed. They were acting as casually as if they were reminiscing in some cheap tavern. I dated Hitomi about 10 years ago. Back then, it was my first year in the working world after graduating high school. We started dating in high school, and our relationship had just dragged on out of habit.
Can't you do something about that 150,000 yen pay? On top of that, you even send money back home, so we can't ever go out and have fun.
I don't have a choice. Mom has weak health.
Who's more important to you, me or your mother?
We had endless fights like that back then, and I was starting to get completely exhausted. Back then, I was busy with work and studying for certifications, but it wasn't like my salary was good either. That's just how it was for a high school graduate software engineer. Ultimately, Hitomi and I didn't last long.
I found a much more promising boyfriend at college than you, so let's break up.
I see. I didn't chase after her. To put it bluntly, I had things that were far more important to focus on. Since then, I threw myself entirely into my work. What terrible timing. And on the day of Rie's celebration, too. I made way more than that even when I was a fresh graduate. Rie, who had been looking up at us with concern, seemed unable to hold back any longer and spoke up.
But the manager...
It's fine. Today is your celebration. Let's not make a scene. I shook my head as I spoke. However, Hitomi had no intention of stopping.
By the way, this place looks pretty expensive, doesn't it? Are you okay? Did you stretch yourself too thin? Like, did you blow your entire bonus on this?
Must be tough trying to show off. Rie clenched her fist tightly. Making a scene in a place like this was a bad idea, but just as I was about to fire back... Excuse me, patrons. You are disturbing our other guests, so I must ask you to leave. the master said flatly. The restaurant fell dead silent at his words, drawing the eyes of all the surrounding customers. Hitomi's face turned beet red. Furthermore, this is a special celebration. It is in very poor taste to ruin it.
Master?
Let's go. The man muttered in a low voice. Hitomi bit her lip, glared at me, and walked away without saying another word. Rie stared in their direction for a moment, but eventually turned back to face me.
Manager, aren't you frustrated?
If it were the old me, I might have been, but... My mother's smiling face came to mind. Director Tsuchikura's face did too. I thought of all the people who had supported me. I've been very lucky. Rie looked confused, but I didn't say any more. A few days after that incident at the sushi restaurant, I was greeted first thing in the morning by my subordinate, Hikaru Taji.
Manager, you've been asked to go to the executive boardroom. The director is waiting for you.
The executive boardroom? I had a bad feeling about this, but if Director Tsuchikura was calling, I couldn't ignore it.
There you are.
Being summoned so formally only gives me a bad feeling.
As sharp as ever.
As we exchanged those words upon entering the room, Director Tsuchikura smiled gently and handed me a document. I frowned as I looked at it. A new integrated system?
It's the project to revamp our next generation core system.
Are you serious? What's the total budget?
Over 1 billion yen, I believe.
I'm going back to my desk.
Sit down.
No. This is a job for someone at director level. Why me?
Because you're the only one who can do it. You can talk to sales, you can talk to development, and you understand infrastructure.
Well, I was on the ground after all.
You don't get into conflicts with clients.
I do when it's necessary.
Our partner companies like you can communicate with legal, and on top of that, the president thinks highly of you.
And that's because you trained me so well, Director Tsuchikura.
You really don't realize how valuable you are, do you?
She suddenly spoke with a serious look, and I couldn't find an answer. It had always been that way. My scores on technical tests were average, and my certifications weren't outstanding. I didn't have the flashy brilliance of the brilliant engineers in our company, so I had never once thought of myself as special. Yet, Director Tsuchikura stated firmly,
Talented engineers are relatively common, but people who can manage and unite those talented engineers are incredibly rare.
"What if I refuse?"
It would put me in a very difficult spot. Besides, you can consider this my final request of you.
That's not fair. After staring at each other for a moment, I let out a sigh. Fine, but once we succeed, you have to treat me to sushi. On that condition, I'll take it. With that, Director Tsuchikura smiled, and the massive project was set in motion. As preparation for the kickoff began, the whole department became incredibly busy. Amidst the rush, Rie quietly muttered,
Manager, you really are mysterious.
"How so?"
There goes Rie's manager watching habit again. But he really is amazing, isn't he? One moment, you're talking with the sales director, and the next you're in a meeting with the infrastructure team. Then you get a call from a partner company, followed by an online meeting with a client. Every single person you deal with is completely different.
Well, that's true.
Doesn't that drive you crazy?
Well, I am the manager.
That's not an answer. The manager actually didn't stand out at all back in the day.
Hikaru smiled, looking a bit nostalgic.
He had a really hard time getting certifications, and he even failed his technical exams once. The manager did? He was extremely down about it. That was when Director Tsuchikura, who is now our division director, spoke to him. She told him, "You are not cut out to be an engineer." His face turned pale at those words. But immediately after she said, "However, you have a talent for listening to people." Huh?
That brings back memories. She said, systems aren't just machines. People make them. So become someone who can move people.
Ever since then, the manager changed. He never turned down any assignment. Development, operations, maintenance, infrastructure, client-side assignments, failing projects, jobs that nobody else wanted to touch. He took them all on. That's where the manager understands how so many different people feel. I had no idea. That's amazing! You're so cool, manager!
No, I was just doing the gritty work.
No, you are definitely cool, manager.
Flattery won't get you anything, I said with a wry smile. But if Director Tsuchikura hadn't shown me the path that day, I wouldn't be here today. To be praised for the journey that got me here made me genuinely happy. My final request, huh? After returning to my desk, I remembered the words Director Tsuchikura had spoken. I knew what those words really meant. Director Tsuchikura was suffering from pancreatic cancer. And while it wasn't immediate, she planned to leave the company before long to focus on her treatment. Entrusting this project to me was, in essence, her way of passing the torch. I let out a soft sigh and renewed my determination to make it a success.
Manager, can I ask you something?
That night, after finishing overtime, I was walking to the station alongside Rie. Depends on what it is.
Why do you always have to hesitate like that?
Well, because you sometimes ask the most unexpected things, Rie.
It's about those annoying customers we ran into on the day of my promotion dinner. That woman was your ex-girlfriend or something, right? Back then you said, if it were the old me, I might have been frustrated. I've been wondering what you meant by that ever since.
Glancing sideways, Rie looked quite dissatisfied. Realizing I had indeed said something like that, I chuckled and replied lightly. 10 years ago, I truly had nothing. Just like she said, my salary was really low. So back then, I'm sure it would have made me furious. I just didn't have any peace of mind. Back then, even with my small salary, I still sent a little money back to my mother. Well, she didn't like that either, and would constantly make passive-aggressive remarks about it. But I'm glad Hitomi and I broke up. Since then, I've made it this far with the help of so many people. Director Tsuchikura, my seniors, my juniors, including you, our clients, and everyone I met on site. And because I fought desperately every step of the way, I can admit it, the old me was indeed a failure. Because I accept my empty past, I didn't feel frustrated. No matter what anyone says, what I've built since then won't be shaken. It was the first time I had put it into words, but it clicked with me as the reason why I didn't feel frustrated.
Manager, you are amazing.
Also, knowing that I'm still far from perfect plays a big part in it. Of course, there are times when you absolutely need to speak up. But in a high-end sushi restaurant, celebrating my subordinate's promotion, with other customers around, firing back and causing a scene would just be a nuisance. That's what an immature person who can't control their anger would do. What mattered most in that situation was not dragging myself down to their level, but handling it peacefully. Letting momentary anger dictate your actions is a sign of immaturity. Working various jobs and interacting with all kinds of people taught me that. Speaking up is fine, but you must never let anger control you. Even if it's hard right now, I hope that someday you'll understand that, Rie.
Yes, I will become someone who can control her anger. When I do speak up, I'll never get emotional, and I won't lose sight of what's most important.
Having learned this by earning the trust of various people, I now pass this lesson down to a subordinate who trusts me. I believed she would soon come to truly understand it from the bottom of her heart. And so, the day of the first kickoff meeting for the new integrated system project arrived, with the heads of each department gathering in the main conference room. There were over 20 people in total. Everyone sat in their seats with tense expressions.
Manager, what an impressive lineup.
It makes my stomach ache.
You look completely unfazed, though.
It was while we were having this whispered conversation that the entrance area became a bit noisy, and several visitors entered the room. Excuse us. They were representatives from our partner company. The moment I saw the man leading them, I couldn't help but widen my eyes. Ugh. Standing there was the man who had been with Hitomi. He seemed to notice me as well. That face, which had been laughing so loudly at the sushi restaurant, slightly froze up. Ugh. Well, hello there. It's been a few days, hasn't it? Hello. About the other day. Well,
Manager?
the face of a stranger you met for only a few minutes is usually hard to recall, but it seemed Rie recognized him too. The moment she spoke in worry, the man's eyes widened for a split second, before a smile returned to his stiff face. I'm Hiroto Aoyagi. If you don't mind, could we exchange business cards? Thank you very much for your courtesy. The business card I received from Hiroto bore the title of Department Director. Ah, how transparent. So, you're Manager Sata. That's a higher position than I expected. The instant he judged my rank to be lower than his attitude shifted right back. I highly doubted his competence at work. Completely oblivious to the exasperated looks we gave him, he walked to his seat in high spirits. Eventually, the time came, and the meeting began.
Now, we will have a greeting from the person in charge. Project Lead, Manager Sata.
What? His smirk vanished in an instant, replaced by a look of sheer disbelief as Hiroto stared at me. The eyes of everyone in the room turned toward him, temporarily halting the meeting.
Is something the matter?
No. Given the scale of this project, I simply assumed someone at the executive level would be leading it.
Allow me to answer that.
Director Tsuchikura stood up smoothly.
First, allow me to introduce myself. I am Fumika Tsuchikura, the division director. While Yuya is still young and holds the title of manager, he has worked his way up through various demanding roles on the ground. I personally guarantee his coordination skills. When it comes to executing a project, there is no one more capable than him.
Ugh.
Well then, if that clarifies things, we would like to proceed with Manager Sata's greeting.
Called upon, I stepped forward and bowed. It's a pleasure to work with you all. I'm Yuya Sata from the Development Department, serving as the lead for this project. Hiroto's face drained of color. It was incredibly easy to tell what he was thinking. He was likely in shock because the man he had looked down on held a position far beyond his expectations. This is a large-scale project involving multiple companies. For that reason, I value building trust over immediate results. If any issues arise, please share them without hesitation. Finding solutions will always take priority over assigning blame. The atmosphere in the conference room began to shift. Most of the people here likely knew what it was like on the ground. Surely, they understood the weight of my words. When I glanced over, for some reason, Rie was puffing her chest out with pride. About the other day, well, I ended up saying some terribly rude things. After the meeting ended and the attendees began exchanging business cards, Hiroto approached me. Did you? No, well, my wife had a terrible misunderstanding and lashed out. His wife, so they really were married. Your wife, huh? And don't worry about it. I am truly sorry. Well, I look forward to working with you on this project. I reached out and shook hands with Hiroto. Then I added one thing. Just one thing. This project is going to be incredibly demanding. Let's work together to make it a success. It wasn't a threat or a sarcastic remark. It was strictly professional. Hiroto could only nod solemnly. 2 months later, the project was not progressing smoothly. This was only natural. Major projects always come with trouble. But the problem was that most of those issues were originating from Hiroto's area of responsibility.
Manager, it happened again!
I checked the documents she handed over. Delayed deadlines, missing progress reports, misunderstandings of specifications. This is the third time. This is serious. I'm terribly sorry. I don't need apologies. Explain the situation. When I called him in, Hiroto's explanation was incredibly incoherent. He blamed his subordinates, partner companies, or the client, never himself. I listened in silence until he finished. I see. I understand the situation. Now, let me confirm. Who is the final approver? I am. And who is responsible for the reporting? I am. Who is managing the task? That is also me. Silence fell over the room. Amid the tense atmosphere, I calmly said, "Then please present a plan for improvement." Hiroto couldn't say a single word. After subsequent discussions by the project steering committee, a decision was made to change the person in charge. We had no use for someone who repeated mistakes and did nothing but shift the blame to others. In this manner, he was effectively removed from his position.
She was a cute girl. You were with her at the sushi restaurant, too. Is she your favorite?
She's a precious subordinate of mine. A while after that, after finishing work, I found myself sitting across from Hitomi in a cafe. As I was leaving the company with Rie, Hitomi had been waiting there for me. "So, what do you want? Coming all the way to my office?"
I heard from Hiroto. You've become quite an amazing person, haven't you?
I had noticed it from the moment I saw her outside the office, but Hitomi was unusually submissive compared to how she used to be. There was no doubt she had experienced some shift in mindset. However, since I had no interest, I simply answered her questions directly. "Not really."
Were you always like this?
"Who knows?
I didn't know.
I suppose you didn't."
I'm sorry.
The evening cafe was sparse with customers. Elegant music drifted through the nearly empty room, with almost no one else around.
Hiroto blamed me too. He said my actions ruined his job, and now he's demanding a divorce.
That happened because Hiroto lacked the competence to manage his tasks. It had nothing to do with you.
I regret breaking up with you that day.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. I stated calmly, yet with absolute certainty. What you regret isn't breaking up with me, it's the fact that I became successful. Hitomi's eyes darted around, clearly struck by the truth of my words. If I were still earning only 150,000 yen a month, if I had failed in life, you wouldn't have come here today. Silence fell. It was proof that I had hit the mark. There were people who believed in the old me, my mother, my boss. But I was still completely immature back then. That's why I'm truly grateful to them. So I have no intention of blaming you for the choice you made. Honestly, having a boyfriend who only makes 150,000 yen is nothing but a source of anxiety for the future, right? Though starting a relationship with the next guy before we even broke up was indeed a problem. However, I no longer possess the kindness to point that out to her. I don't hold a grudge against you.
Then...
But it's in the past. Hitomi's eyes trembled. No resentment, no nothing. For her, that indifference was a far sadder reality than being hated. The girl I once loved is gone, and the me of today is no longer who I was back then. I smiled as gently as I could, told her, "Find happiness in your own life," and walked out of the cafe. As for what happened to them afterward, first, Hiroto, who had been removed from the massive project, faced repercussions inside his company as his lack of competence became a major issue. Why? I did nothing wrong. It's Santa's fault for unfairly removing me. As a result, his demotion was finalized, and he resigned. Insisting that his wife was solely responsible for everything, he divorced Hitomi. Although he continued his job hunt, things naturally did not go well. With a personality that looked down on others and a complete lack of accountability that shifted every blame, it was only natural. Incompetent fools acting all high and mighty. How dare pieces of trash like you reject me? In a fit of rage, he kicked the sign of a restaurant, shattering it. The furious shop owner called the police. Clinging to his oversized pride, he assaulted the officer and was arrested on charges of obstructing public duties and assault. Subsequently, he was sentenced to 1.5 years in prison.
I wouldn't want a guy like that anyway.
Meanwhile, Hitomi registered at a matchmaking agency immediately after the divorce. At 29, she was still relatively young, but her search for a partner was incredibly difficult. That was because...
Why does nobody ever want to set a date?
After their first meetings, none of the men wished to continue contact. being a divorcee made people judge her much more strictly. Unable to keep paying the membership fees, she eventually withdrew without any success. She was left to live her life alone, deeply regretting ever breaking up with me. As for us, 1.5 years later, we had successfully completed the massive project. Currently, I was writing a report email to Fumika. The project has been completed successfully. Please rest assured. About a half year ago, Fumika had resigned from the company to focus entirely on her treatment. Do you remember our promise? According to what I'd heard, her condition was stable. Please get discharged soon so we can get sushi. I'm really looking forward to that day. I also have something else I'd like to share with you.
That's about me, isn't it?
Rie, who was peeking at my screen from the side, spoke up in a cheerful voice. Yes, it is. I replied briefly and sent the email to Fumika. The other thing I wanted to report was the fact that Rie and I had started dating. Though at first, I thought it was just a bad joke.
What? Why would you think that?
Well, because I'm an old guy. I finally crossed over into my 30s after all.
If you round it up, I'm practically 32.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Anyway, I've liked you for the longest time, manager.
Is it because I treat you to sushi?
Yeah. Hey, no, that's not it. Seriously, I'm going to get mad.
Rie puffed out her cheeks cutely. Seeing her like that was so adorable that I couldn't help but tease her. Hey, Rie, would you like to meet my mother this coming weekend? The girl I had told 1.5 years ago not to let anger take control has, just as I trusted, steadily learned to manage it. I realized once again that people grow in order to live up to the expectations of those who believe in them.
Huh? Is that, by any chance, a proposal?
Well, I'm not fully prepared yet, but I suppose you could take it that way. With her, I was sure I could make things work while respecting each other. Feeling that premonition, I caught her in my arms as she lunged towards me.
Hello, your adorable Brittany here with another fabulous episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed my awesome acting. And I'll see you next time. Bye!